Greetings, YouTube. When do you start becoming old? At what point do you get to your stage in your life and you say, you know, I'm an old man? When I was a kid, I was raised in a rather unstable household with an alcoholic father, and I had to act in a mature adult manner from a very early age. Pretty much every earliest memories I have are having to act like an adult, because acting like a kid wasn't a survival skill. When I got to be about 14, I got to be able to start acting more like a juvenile, and I did. And I think I continued that until I was around 30, when I started to grow up again. I'm 44 now, and in a lot of ways, I don't feel that old. I roleplay. I like video games, at least in theory. I love movies. I have a love of toys. And I have a lot of characteristics that I associate with teenagers, young adults. Still read comics occasionally. But in other ways, I do feel old. I'm 44. I'm physically older than I was. I'm now a diabetic. I have high blood pressure. My doctor wants me to lower my cholesterol. These are things you can't ignore. So there are physiological changes that have dictated that, that, hey, you are getting old. And that's okay. I don't mind the lines on my face, the liver spots on my hands. I kind of find it interesting to watch the process. But when do you start judging someone's old? When I was 14, someone over 30 was old. I'm 44 now. Someone in their 20s is a kid. Someone in their 70s or 80s is old. It's a shifting target. It moves as you travel through time. When does someone look at you and say, hey, you're an old man? I can remember, excuse me, that was a cat knocking things over in the kitchen. I can remember being 18 and suddenly having someone call me sir, and that made me feel old. Now I'm used to it. I don't really bat an eye when people assume that, I was alive in the 60s. Well, I was. I wasn't really aware of the 60s much. I was born in '64. In some ways I look older than my age. In some ways I feel younger than my age. And I just find it fascinating that someone can look at you, make a judgment, and decide whether you are or aren't old. I'm sure I do it. I know I do it. We all do it. Frankly, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. This is very stream of conscious even for me. But there are times when I'm 14, and there are times when I'm 60, and on the good days, I'm 44.